welcome back to another part of this F1 25 My Team Career Mode. This is part number 33 today for the Japanese Grand Prix in Season 3. Last time out in the opening round of this new season, it got very, very close indeed between ourselves and Alexander Albon. Yes, that's correct, in the Ferrari of all cars, as we nearly started the season with a win with Tim Tramnitz, but it wasn't meant to be. Very firm and aggressive defense from the Ferrari to prove the doubters wrong that Ferrari may still be able to challenge for the title just fine this season, even though they dropped Leclerc, don't have Hamilton, and signed 2 new drivers. But for us, it was happy days. Even if we didn't get the win, we won the rivalry with Williams that we've had since like the middle of Season 1. So that gave us a massive booster to fan rating. We're up to fan rating 6, and so we'll be able to place a few new sponsors around the car. This is how things are looking in the R&D chart then, you know, with those last couple of upgrades we're squeezing through on this car. Ferrari still obviously clearly out front on paper, but if you kind of, you know, take into account their drivers versus where the car is at, I think we, as a player, we can make that difference. And clearly we did make that difference in Australia, being that close to getting the win. Behrman, it was his first race in the car. The first stint went really well, then over the course of the race, still maybe getting used to things, so you can excuse maybe him falling off a little bit in that first race. But genuinely, I think that we are in a position to be winning races in this first part of the season. We are the closest team to Ferrari, and I think with the skill level that we have in our driver lineup and ourselves, we can bridge that gap to Ferrari. And we will continue to try and also bridge the gap, actually, with some upgrades, because we do have a final fuel upgrade to bring to the car. Now, fuel never stands out as a massive upgrade to me, but when you really think about it, especially for the AI teammate every single race, they could be running a lot less fuel at the start of the race and therefore be a little bit punchy off the line, a bit quicker overall in the race. And generally speaking, the least amount of fuel you can carry, the better. But it doesn't always, to me, strike out as a massive one. But I think even having an ultimate fuel upgrade is going to be a big benefit. So yeah, we've got enough R&D to bring that onto the car. So I think that could even, you know, be an even more enticing thing to get us right there on the money, being able to absolutely go for the big points at the start of this season. And in tandem with that, we are, well, these days now actually filling out the activity timeline quite a lot actually on all 4 departments. For the first time, I think like ever, I'm going to do the blitzing run on the engineering activity timeline, because I actually really want to get this fuel upgrade in time, because in my mind, right now is a very crucial period of the season. We need to maximize points as much as we can at the moment, because it is a well-known fact that the My Team car does not max out at the same level as Ferrari, as Red Bull, as Merc, McLaren. I don't even know, maybe other teams, I'm not too sure. But for what I do know is we will never be able to match them toe-to-toe, paper for paper on the R&D chart. So at this stage, whilst we're ahead of most teams and near enough to Ferrari to make an impact with their driver lineup being maybe not as high as you would expect a team like Ferrari, I think this is a time of the season where we just need to be going for the absolute be end and end all, trying to get double podiums, race wins, because there may not be a guarantee later in this season that we can actually go for a win. So they all need to come now at the start of the season effectively, and then it's a case of trying to control the championship. At least that's what my game plan is for, you know, looking at all the things in front of me at the start of this career. And right now what I'm looking in front of me is a lovely fill to the brim car with sponsors. We're going to swap a few out because we've got obviously some new ones coming in. So a little bit of a slight subtle difference on the front end of the car now, with having that square logo in the middle rather than the slingshot circle, slingshot being pushed up to above the number. and then just checking over the rest of the car and kind of showing you around and just, you know, we've come a long way, haven't we? We've come a long, long way, and it's fantastic to see. And this season, of course, it's just about trying to match that, you know, that level we're at corporate-wise and looks-wise with the actual tangible results, which I hope we can continue to try and do into the second episode. We already had also an ERS upgrade, I think that was, being developed, because that was the one upgrade we couldn't get finished off for Australia, so that's also coming through. So technically we've got 2 big final upgrades on the powertrain side of things coming to one of the cars, because I don't think there's enough time. There's not enough time to develop both fuel upgrades in tandem, so we had to make a compromise there, develop one, and that I've decided is going to go to Tramnit, because he will be the AI driver in this episode. I will be taking on as Ollie Bearman for the first time, so we're going to try and boost him as much as we can with that fuel upgrade. But both drivers, both cars will have the ERS update as we progress through, and to my surprise, actually, a bit of a revelation, we can actually get both done. We can get both fuel upgrades done. Ignore me. The boosted activity. For the first time, we did the rush blitz on the engineering activity timeline, and it's actually going to pay us big dividends. There's no delay, because there is a higher chance of failure and delay when you do the rush activity. There is a failure, but we're rushing it so much that we can still redevelop it and get it done in time for the Japanese Grand Prix. We also got a brand new sponsor to put on the car as well. So happy days all around. You know, new sponsors to put on the car and all the upgrades to put on the car. And so look at that. We are so much closer to Ferrari, and we're like a comfortable little margin above Red Bull now, whereas we were level pegging with them and Merc and McLaren, but Red Bull have got a bit ahead of Merc and McLaren, and we have got ahead of all 3 of them, and way ahead of, you know, our old rivals of Williams, who are now kind of, you know, down there fighting with Aston Martin, Renault, Haas, all close together. But more than ever now, we are the sole team that can take the fight to Ferrari properly. You know, we already showed it in Australia, but now our car, relative to Ferrari, is even quicker and closer. So this absolutely has to be go, go, go time, because there will be a point, I really do feel, later in this season where we are just, you know, jaw to the floor like, oh, okay, all the AI teams around us are much better on paper. They've maxed out at a higher place. So if we don't get wins, we don't get podiums now, we could shoot ourselves for this entire championship. I really am not joking. So that is the goal into this episode and into the next couple, you know, like the first like 5-6 races. We're trying to go for race wins in all of these races. We have to. We nearly got one in Australia. As we add in some final new sponsors onto the car, we prepare ourselves to go towards the Japanese Grand Prix. And it will be the first time that we drive as Ollie Bearman, our brand new signing for this season. Let's get into the race weekend.
This is a circuit where sometimes you see something truly exceptional behind the wheel. We've seen it from Vettel. We've seen it from Verstappen. It is a remarkable place to watch a car at speed. Welcome to Suzuka. We're qualifying for the Japanese Grand Prix.
Okay, mate. Radio check, please. Radio check.
Radio check.
So that was pretty neat, actually. I forgot that, because now we've got one of the F1 drivers in our team. We actually get the radio message audio bites that, you know, maybe some of you have been getting in your career modes if you had already signed one of the official F1 drivers. So that's pretty damn cool. So we're gonna now take on our first quali session as Bearman. You know, Tramnit, we had a great debut in the season with him and his 99 focus, and we've seen him go from strength to strength. Even though he's only 70 rated still, I still think that in reality he's probably higher, but the experience stat is probably bringing his overall down quite a fair bit. And you guys have seen it. You know, you guys were petitioning to keep him for the reasoning of, you know, in reality, we saw a race like Qatar, that there's those flashes of real speed and brilliance from our German rocket ship, our youngster, alongside, I say youngster, I mean Ollie Bearman, also a young chap. We've got a very, very young duo in this car. and both through into Q2, of course, so that's fine. Also, by the way, I want to point out context for this episode. This has been uploaded after the driver ratings update has come in, but I recorded this race weekend before the driver ratings improvements. So the next episode, that will be the first race with the brand new driver rating. So things like Piastri should be a lot quicker from next episode. Obviously we've had, downgrades for Carlos Sainz, for example, some big bumps for Hadjar, Antonelli, the man we're driving as, Ollie Behrman as well, isn't it? So there will be some interesting evolvements into the next one. But for this one, it's still with the original driver ratings. But that's no bother for us because we're driving as Behrman, so it won't affect him at the moment anyway. And obviously Tim Tramnitz, I don't imagine they update the F3 driver ratings. I wish they would, because I think Tim deserves a bit more now 3 seasons in, but he's on pace. He's actually quicker than me there by about 3/10. So Tramnitz really showing it. But you know what? Red Bull looking pretty strong here. Verstappen P1, Piastri 4, Albon only 3rd. Maybe a flash of some speed for the McLaren team finally. Second race in for Leclerc. Antonelli's impressed by getting through with the Haas and also on the Aston Martin Hondas as well. So a little bit of topsy-turvy qualifying and surprising Q3 appearances for those two teams. And I think Red Bull have some decent pace around here. Maybe they're just favouring the circuit because, of course, that's the thing. Track to track, certain teams will do better, just as it is the case in real life. So watch out for that. But we're setting a purple first sector, so we're not too shabby ourselves as we come through for our first flying lap, crossing the line. P6, 4/10 to find behind Albon, but Piastri ahead, Tramnitz ahead. So Tramnitz has gone quicker than us. So we have time to find. It's another purple first sector, but I feel like that's very, it's kind of, masking where we're losing time, which is here. So I saved a lot of battery. We were over 90% battery into the hairpin because you can see there I jumped up about 3/4 just using more battery at that part of the circuit rather than earlier on in the lap like I did in the first flyer. As we come to the line, it's nearly 1 second gained. Surely that gets us right up there. P4. I was expecting, I don't know, at least 3rd, but honestly the front row with his second gained, and Max Verstappen showing his class, showing his speed. I mean, I said it was all about us being the closest team to Ferrari, but Red Bull and Max specifically has shown me up there. They're not going down without a fight, and they're there. Maybe for the case of Verstappen's AI, they are close enough for Verstappen to make that difference, and clearly he has done here on a Saturday. Pole position, Ocon 2nd though, Albon 3rd. We're there, 4-5. It's a strong quali from Tramnitz. I'm happy with that, really happy with that. And down below, Antonelli out qualifying Leclerc in the Haas versus the McLaren. That's a real big result for him as we go towards the race, and there is an inkling that there might be some rain.
This is legendary Suzuka with a long and storied history dating right back to 1987. There is more history to be written here today. Welcome to the Japanese Grand Prix. It's time to see how our drivers are stacking up after yesterday's exciting qualifying session. World champion Max Verstappen starts from pole position, with Esteban Ocon alongside. Looking at the rest of today's grid, we have Albon, Behrman, Tim Tramnitz and Piastri, Norris, Antonelli, Leclerc and Franco Colapinto, Tsunoda, Gasly, Liam Lawson, Doohan, Aaron, Stroll, Pepe Marti and Nico Hülkenberg, Maloney, Hadjar, Bortoletto and Carlos Sainz will start from the back of the grid. Now, it's almost time for lights out, so let's go down to the track. And so, we welcome you to the commentary box. I'm Alex Jakes. Alongside me for this race, and it's going to be some race, is Anthony Davidson. Now, those final hours before a race, did you have a routine?
Well, for them, you've got your pre-race rituals that you go through. You see different drivers that, some have got their headphones on, they're listening to the music. Some drivers really absorb the energy from the crowd, and they're there waving to them. Other drivers, they go within themselves. They chat to their engineers, absorbing that information, that vital information that you need to carry you through the race. And, you know, those pre-race rituals are essential to making things systematic. We do a lot of Grand Prix in a season, and the more systematic you can be, the easier you are within that environment.
Okay, radio check, radio check.
Copy, radio check.
We're going to need on-point radio comms for sure today, as it is a wet and wild start here around Suzuka. Intermediate tyres. And it's, well, again, I think we had one in season 2, didn't we? A changeable conditions race. And it's going to be all about that switchover period, because it is definitely going to switch over to dries. The forecast suggested it was going to come about halfway through the race. We'll see how it goes. You know, on this formation lap, asking my engineer is actually going to come maybe a little bit earlier than even that. So it could just be a case of trying to make the most of it on this race start on lap 1, then kind of in survival mode, as we know the AI are very, very solid in the wet, and then having the fun in the dry potentially. But Verstappen on pole mixes things up. It's not just us versus Ferrari. He's in there, maybe Piastri too. Let's just see how this race start goes. And obviously the tyre strategy is out the window now. It's just kind of going to be all on the fly, deciding things as we go on. So already this season's got plenty of twists and turns in the second round as we go to 5 red lights here for the Japanese Grand Prix. Look how far out of my box I was in terms of left-hand side as Verstappen cuts across Ocon to block P1. Tramnitz has had a great getaway. He's gone round the outside of me and Albon. It's a double overtake for the young German driver as we have to wrestle through to repass Albon. What a start from Tramnitz, 3rd place. In the wet this is as well. That's so impressive, but it seems like that's a common theme that my AI driver alongside me has a really great start, because obviously Behrman made 3 positions at the start of Australia. Tramnitz here too, as we just basically survive now in P4. We have narrowly only just stayed ahead of Albon, but I already get the sense that maybe this is where we'll be for the majority of the intermediate running, and it's actually going to be a question of, can Tramnitz overtake Ocon there, because he's quite close to him. Here's a replay of the start then, as well, he just gets really, really good traction. We're too busy trying to go on the inside. He goes clean around the outside of Albon, and then there, I basically got pinched in a bit. I couldn't commit down the inside of Ocon, and that just invited Tramnitz through. He did go off circuit a little bit, but he made it work actually, and actually that's quite brave from him to, you know, really flirt with the curb like that and get around the outside, as it was a really great start also for Kimi Antonelli, having out-qualified the reigning champion Leclerc in his new McLaren. He's looking to squeeze out Lando in the Mercedes, the young Italian, hoping to maybe one day get into the Ferrari, I imagine, in the Ferrari pipeline of being in the Haas team now, away from the Mercedes program, and he's side by side with his old team. He gets completely done though by Lando, and oh, he gets done by the curb as well. So much to learn from the young Italian for sure, as we now look towards lap 2. Tramnitz in the slipstream. He might go for it. He's going to go for it. Ocon with the squeeze. Can Tramnitz get to second? No, not quite, but I'm loving this. He is looking feisty as ever. That is the same Tramnitz that we saw in like Qatar last season. If you watch that episode, it's the same sort of aggression and really fight that we're seeing, but also quietly, Verstappen, by the way, P1, pulling away a little bit, 1.5. Controlling things in a you know, changeable race where obviously we know how good Max Verstappen is in the wet, in these situations where it's just all about corner to corner feeling of the car. As we have got some okay pace here, but I'm just really checking on the weather because I'd rather it be dry. We're doing actually okay to keep up with Tramnitz. I'm not falling into having to defend Albon too much, but with a little bit of a twitch there, I would much rather it be dry. And the thing is, as it gets towards dry, things are getting tricky, you know? It's a little bit quicker in some places, it's still wet in others, so it's always a tough one to try and work out, as Verstappen is now sailing off into the distance, basically, relative to the time gaps behind. He's nearly 3 seconds ahead. It's a slow Mercedes. Is that the Merc? retiring out of the race. I think it may be, as it's a narrow miss for Leclerc. Tsunoda comes through the Williams, and it is a puff of smoke completely covering the exit curb there of 130R, and it's a retirement for the Mercedes driver.
Virtual
Right,
safety
drop your
car.
speed,
Virtual
Adele,
safety
safety
too
car.
low.
Reduce
Reduce
speed
speed immediately and slow your pace immediately.
What now, Mark? Two different marks there talking at the same time. One wasn't bad enough, clearly. I think he was trying to say there's been a retirement and there's a virtual safety car now out. I think that was the gist of what he was trying to convey there. But you all slow down then, and the race gets neutralized. I was maybe thinking, oh, is this going to be long enough where we can make a pit stop under virtual safety car? No, it's going to end quite soon. So no free pit stop under VSC, and it's still quite dark and gloomy, so it's hard to tell when this crossover is going to happen. It stopped raining because I can't see any kind of, active rain droplets on the camera, on the halo or the chassis. And, well, Mark there talking about a crossover there, change of strategy. And, he's given me a change of strategy onto another set of inters. Brilliant, brilliant. It's good to know, after I said we needed radio comms on point, that Mark is just in his own little world. I don't know what screen he's looking at. Well, why are we even considering another set of intermediates? I'll never know. But the focus now is back on our teammate, lap 9, going for another attempt. Why is he going to the inside, though? Much better on the outside is Ocon just pulls off that same chop across. And around here at Suzuka, in a bit of an opposite way, the better place to pass is actually on the racing line on the outside because of the nature of the corner, as Tramnitz goes for a third attempt, and again Ocon closes the door. It's getting pretty damn close though, so maybe fourth time lucky Tramnitz could get it done. I don't know, as Verstappen now grows the gap to 3.8 as it gets drier. He just seemingly is getting quicker in this sort of scenario, as now after that obviously lap 1 issue for Antonelli, he's now stuck in between the Audi and the BMW of Bortoletto and Hajar respectively. And to be fair, we haven't seen too much from these two teams, but we are going to now. There's an actual battle happening with one of those new brands in Formula 1 as Bortoletto is overtaken. But I'm just praying that at some point this season either of those teams can make some upgrades or just get some sort of result that's lucky to galvanize them, because I feel like sometimes with the AI teams, if they can get one or two lucky results, that can actually spur them on, because they're simulating fan rating, they're simulating the driver's focus and R&D, etc. So just a lucky result maybe for Audi or BMW could mean a change of fortune in future seasons. We're going to have to just see. But right now we are tucked up right behind Tramnitz because Ocon now is really slow. It's not really actually Verstappen being that quick, it's actually just the Frenchman being that slow, holding us up to the point where I'm now nearly pushing Tramnitz through 130R. So I really need him to make the move because I can't make the double pass. We need to clear the Ferrari together, and we're going to do that just now. Finally, it was the fourth time of asking, and we have just sent Ferrari a little love kiss there on the exit, squeezing out Ocon quite a lot. That was payback for Australia, what happened with Tramnitz and Albon there. And we're now 2-3, double podium on the cards then. We've still got 2/3 of the race left to go, so let's not say that too early, but it's looking good right now. But can we do anything to close up towards Verstappen, I wonder, as lap 11 still on inters. It's still very dark out there, but definitely no rain droplets. But it's a case of everyone, like in real life sometimes, we're all being stubborn with each other. The DRS is enabled. Usually, I always say, that means it's definitely time to come in for dries. But we're all being stubborn and we're all keeping each other in check by staying out. And Tramnitz has been setting purples, by the way. He has gone quickest of all. So he's clearly got some more speed in the tank. So I'm just staying out with him. And also, for me personally, I want to try and take a leaf out of... Oh! Gasly spun it! Gasly spun it. So things are getting quite tricky as we're seeing some AI mistakes there. It's a free position for Aaron and Lawson, but I was going to say, remember season 2, the Japanese Grand Prix? Piastri, he retired, but before he did, he went long on inters when it was already time for dries, and he went onto a set of tyres that were softer than everyone else, and he was so much quicker. I think that's the play we've got to go for. I think take a leaf out of Oscar Piastri's book from season 2, and even if it's a bit painful, go a bit longer than the AI and go onto a softer compound, because I reckon from this point, if this is the crossover period, as Gasly repasses Lawson to make up for the spin, if this is the crossover period, I think they'll go to hards. So I think we go mediums, as Stroll, to my surprise, makes an overtake in the McLaren and gets up into P14, but it's worlds away from his teammate Leclerc in P7. But to be honest, McLaren and Leclerc will be annoyed at where they are. Leclerc, the reigning champion, nowhere near the top 3 positions as it stands. You know, they have a lot of work to do in that car this season to get it up to scratches. It's another purple from Tim Tramnitz. That's a new purple he's just set. Man, oh man, this guy's impressing me. Really awesome race this has been so far for the German, and we're keeping up with him as things progress. Lap 14, Verstappen, he is going to be coming in on this lap. Tramnitz will be coming in. So either way, I was going to stay out anyway, and not double stack, of course, underneath my teammate. But this works into my plan, because we now just set the fast lap of the Grand Prix. Even though the tyre wear is pretty high, I think we've got some good pace here to, you know, just carry on as we are and then go on to mediums, because I think Tramnitz there is on hards, I believe. I think Verstappen would have been on hards, and let's look at Piastri, the man we're taking inspiration from. He's also gone hards. What happened to last season, Oscar? What happened? You should have gone with the same strategy, my man, as he is on the hard tyres as well. He's managed to jump on the Ferraris, though, I think that is. But yeah, Max is on hards, Tramnitz hards, and we've gone purple. I'm sure Verstappen and Tramnitz and Ocon are going even quicker, but I'm finding more pace, even though the tyres are worn, and it's time to come in. So that was a very solid in-lap, but the purples are purely coming from the fact that the track is getting so quick. And to be honest, maybe we've got to Interslicks. Maybe all of us were on Interslick tyres by that point. You know, we've seen it before in real life where the intermediate wears out so much that it basically becomes a slick tyre, an interslick, where it's still got a bit of tread on the outside, but on the inside middle part of the tyre, it's worn down nice and smooth. So maybe that was an interslick situation. It certainly feels like it, because we've overcut Tramnitz without any team politics. We have just outdriven Tramnitz there, and we're up into P2, and now we are the only man in the top 5 at least on mediums, and we can try and get our head down and chase after Max Verstappen. The gap is down to 2.2. Surely, with 10 laps to go, it is a matter of when we make the overtake, not if. We're on mediums. We should be much quicker than the hard tyres, as Piastri has indeed jumped Albon, so that'll be frustrating for Ferrari. And Leclerc, well, he's being pressurised by Tsunoda. The Williams actually looks likely to maybe make an overtake on the McLaren. So, I mean, let's watch that. I just spoke it into existence maybe as we come on towards now. Lap 18, Tsunoda in the slipstream, goes to the inside. Leclerc just basically didn't put up much of a fight there as he just accepts his fate, and the Williams is the quicker car right now in this stage of the race. Tsunoda into P7. Leclerc will be fuming, and he is going to be demanding upgrades to this McLaren of his. He's the champion coming into the season, for goodness sake, and he's seeing his old team performing better, but of course that's the situation out of his control. Ferrari having to cut costs, as we saw in the pre-season episode, in episode 1, as we are now here fully underneath the rear wing of Max Verstappen. We're saving ERS when we can, but also having to use a bit to keep up with him, because, you know, the AI acceleration is still there, but, you know, it seems like we're a little bit closer to things around Suzuka with obviously the upgrades we've got, the advantage we've got on this Red Bull. You know, if we're fighting the Ferrari, technically a quicker car, but this Red Bull is technically slower than us, so we should really actually be looking to make this pass, let alone being on the medium tyre versus the hards. But That's the other advantage we have here. So we just keep things patient and we're keeping close as we can through the final corner. DRS open, battery use across the line. It's a new fastest lap of the Grand Prix. We fake from the right to the left. We jockey for position into turn one. Verstappen still sends his nose in, but we are going to finally get the pass done. It's been a couple of laps in the works to get that move, to bridge the gap. We're into P1 now, but the problem is right now, Verstappen has the energy, he has the battery to keep up with us. So we're going to have to play it a little bit tactical with this race in order to actually win this as we save battery at the moment. Verstappen coming at us at a rate of knots. We now press a bit of ERS. We're going to be side by side through 130R. We have to wrestle to keep the car going as the curb unsettles us. We nearly make a bit of contact going in for the title line. Verstappen blocks us. He's seen it. That was incredible. He actually blocked off the switch from the right to left, and now we go to the inside. He comes across to give us a big old squeeze into the wall, but we get ahead. We have our own squeeze out, but now in Sector 2 I'm going none ERS and I'm saving all the battery in the world because I need a big old blitz in Sector 3 come the next lap as Albon goes for the move on Piastri, gets up into P5 and makes up for the pit stop issue for Ferrari that saw Piastri jump ahead. I think it was just, to be honest, an undercut maybe, but I'm not too sure. But Albon is in P5, then Ocon P4. Tramnitz now 1.8 seconds behind. Tramnitz is not too far off Verstappen. Could he come at him as into the hairpin? 100% battery. I wasn't kidding. I did none ERS. I lifted and coasted so much. And then look at that. The vault, the push. We just gained about 7/10 there on the exit because I think Verstappen also lost the back end of it into the hairpin. And if that wasn't enough, as we go through, we overtake 2 lapped cars. And this is the beauty about having that battery. We pushed ahead. Look at the minimap. Verstappen got held up a little bit more. The gap has gone from 1.3 to 2.3 because of that traffic. It was deadly for him. 2.7. Verstappen has got nothing to match us now, and we can control this race. And it just shows that when you're not in the DRS with the AI and they don't have that ability to do you on the corner exit, you can go toe-to-toe, but it's just about being that clean air. So once we're in that clean air, we can control the race. It's as simple as that, as there are a couple of moves going on outside of the points. It's a miserable day for Mercedes, though. Carlos Sainz, P16. Lando's out. What's gone on? Mercedes went from fighting for the World Championship with Russell and the constructors to absolutely nowhere. Maybe that's karma for dropping Russell, and he sat on the sidelines right now as a free agent. Maybe that is Formula One karma for them. As lap 23, Tramnitz now under a second to Verstappen. Could this be a run for the 1-2? He's got DRS open, so he's got maybe a chance, but unfortunately, lap 25, as he is keeping the pressure on, watch out for that BMW, because Verstappen comes through, and oh my goodness me. Oh, BMW, you've just got a really new hater, I gotta say. What was that? What was that? I don't know who that was, Hadjar or Maloney, but he held up Tramnitz, and that was his chance gone. So it's not going to be a 1-2. But as we come through the final sector, it is going to be our first win in Season 3. Our first win with the new look aarava Archer racing car. And it is a first win in Formula 1 for Ollie Bearman.
Oh, you worked hard for that one. Congratulations. Well done.
I really enjoyed it. It was so much fun out there.
I tend to agree. That car in clean air, oh, it was beautiful. It was gorgeous around Suzuka today. It really was.
He's made it all the way to the top step of the podium. Ollie Bearman takes the checkered flag.
And you could see that they're just at one with the car, maybe really well adapted to the new regulations. They've clearly done their homework back at base, so fantastic stuff. And you get the feeling they're going to be hard to stop this season.
Plenty to get stuck into afterwards, but now the podium for our top 3 drivers. And Ollie Bearman making his way to the highest step on the podium.
Honestly, I know I'm biased, but seeing that cutscene, seeing the podium sequence with Bearman in our new overalls, the new helmet we designed with him, with the aarava logo on the side as he jumped out of the car, cold, so cold. The stealth look and the helmet, the car, oh, it's lovely. I could get used to this. Double podium, race win. This feels great. This is big. This is awesome. And we now lead both championships. It's early days. But like I said at the start of the episode, we need to bank points now because there will guaranteed be a couple of episodes at the end of the season where maybe AI teams have maxed out ahead of us and we literally physically can't go for a race win again at the end of the season. So we need to bank them now. And very fittingly, like Brawn GP in 2009, get the wins early, get the points early, and try and control it to the end. Guys, if you have enjoyed this one, hit the like button. Let me know what you thought in the comments below. And you around here, then do get subscribed for weekly Formula 1 content. I'll see you guys next time. Goodbye.